For so long, many women are taught how to avoid getting pregnant, especially at a very young age. But what happens when the time comes that you finally wanted to start a family and it doesn't happen as you hoped for? Today, we're honored to be joined by the miracle mama herself, Dr. Charlotte, as we talk about the fertility conversation that every woman needs to hear today. And as a thank you for being part of our community, Dr. Charlotte has also prepared a special gift for our listeners, which I will share later with you in the episode. So stay tuned. Hi, Dr. Charlotte. Welcome to the 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗀 podcast.
Hi, I'm so happy to connect with you. It's so great.
I'm really so happy. By the way, guys, Dr. Charlotte is the founder of Miracle Mama Method. It's a holistic method that guides women in their fertility journey. And she's also a miracle mama herself. So she definitely understands the journey itself. And Dr. Charlotte, just a fun fact before we start asking the questions, someone is actually already looking forward for this episode, even if you have not said yes yet. Because, I was still texting you. I already told a friend that I'm trying to connect with a fertility expert, and she's already looking forward for this episode. So thank you so much for saying yes. And it's really a fun journey up to today. So thank you so much. Dr. Charlotte, fertility has become a very big part of your work and your mission. So can you share what drew you to this space and what made you create the Miracle Mama Method?
Absolutely. So I've actually been in the holistic health world for over 20 years and started really focusing on women and women's health and became very passionate about helping women in general feeling their best and feeling embodied and fully radiant and healthy. But fertility became deeply personal really through my own journey. I faced my own fertility challenges. And of course, I kind of thought, I'm in the health world, I'm super healthy, this is fine. And so to come up with a challenge was a little shocking. And I was searching for my own answers and realizing that there is a gap between what many women were experiencing and also the support that they were receiving. And through that, long story short, I developed my own protocol to address my underlying issues. I had 𝗁𝗵𝗿𝗀 at one point that I managed to heal, but these issues were also impacting my fertility in my body. And I found that a lot of the information, and I'm sure a lot of people find this when they're researching their own health things, that the information is across many books, many websites all over the internet, in different clinics. And I wanted to eventually create a space where all this information was in one easily accessible space. And as I started my journey and sharing my journey, more and more women started coming to me, a bit like the example of your friend, like, I'm going through a similar thing. Do you think you could help? And sharing their own fertility struggles. And I saw so much kind of confusion and overwhelm. That was the first problem. Like, let's try and, cut down some of the confusion and overwhelm. And also really a kind of disconnection. They were eager to understand, I was too, eager to understand how we could support our bodies, but trying to also not be too much in our headspace, really try and keep our mind, body, soul alignment. And that's what I really think is one of the missing pieces, right? We tend to, the minute we're on a health journey, we get in our headspace, we do the research, we go to our appointments, we go to the clinics, we do our tests, and we can really become disconnected from our body. So that was another missing piece that I saw. So I created this protocol, and I do believe also there's definitely the mental health aspect. It can be a long testing journey. I believe there's also a spiritual aspect as well. When we're aligned in our mind, body, and soul, that's often where magic and miracles happen. So the short answer is, it was my own personal journey that led me to develop this whole protocol.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Charlotte. And I do agree with you that fertility is really not just a bodily thing or a hormonal thing, but a total package. Because if your body may be healthy, but mentally you're not ready, or it's a lot of stress going on, so it really affects the journey in itself. And I've even seen stories of women in their 3 months of pregnancy having miscarriages simply because they have stress. So I agree with you that everyone has to be prepared holistically before conception. So speaking of that, Dr. Charlotte, many women are only starting to think about fertility health when they're ready to conceive. What are some of the most important things women can do earlier in life to support their fertility and reproductive health?
One point I really come across as well is that we're often taught how not to become pregnant, right? Especially as women, we're taught like, we must practice safe sex, we mustn't become pregnant. And that's like such a big part of our consciousness in the beginning that not a lot of people talk about, like the day that you might want to become pregnant. First of all, what do we do then? But also, you're right, you're suggesting that let's maybe think about that a little bit beforehand. And so I really think that in general, our health is a lifelong thing, right? So if we start even as young women just thinking about nourishing our bodies with nutrient dense food and looking at our metabolic health, and again bringing in our mental health as well, making sure that we cultivate a positive mindset and keep everything in alignment. For the physical health, I love looking into obviously gut health. Like gut health is super important. Decreasing insulin resistance and decreasing inflammation, obviously getting our good quality sleep, all of these, even before we're thinking about making babies. But the emotional well-being is also a big part of it. Our thoughts and beliefs, our nervous system state have such a profound impact in general on our overall health. And so things like meditation. And I know there are a lot of people love their meditation. Some people tend to do a bit of an eye roll, like, oh my gosh, do I really have to sit on a yoga mat and be silent for hours? And it's like, well, we don't have to go and climb a mountain in Tibet and do a 5-day retreat, but getting our mind in a calm space for our health is huge. So there are different ways we can fit that into our daily life. I love things like breath work as well. And I just feel that honestly, if we start just adding in little healthy aspects to our daily life, then that also then becomes less overwhelming the day that we want to start conceiving. If we start doing little bits daily before we even think about having a baby, making sure we eat well, checking in on our mental health, then by the time we get to that point, then we're already in pretty good shape, right? So that's what I would sort of recommend for anyone just even considering it.
Quick pause. Remember, I mentioned earlier that Dr. Charlotte has a gift for our listeners. As a thank you for being part of this conversation, she is offering a free one-on-one fertility consultation and a 50% off of her Fertility Book Club membership for a limited numbers of listeners on a first-come, first-served basis. You'll find the details in the episode description below. Now, let's go back to our conversation. You're right about there was a time that we can only be allowed to have like a one child or two children policy or something like that because we've learned from the past. But the problem is there comes a time that we do want to have children. And at that point, especially right now, many women are marrying late. So they decided that they wanted on the later time, like in their late 30s, 40s. So at that point, they might not be sure what to feel anymore. Is it still viable or will their child be healthy or something like that? Because, there is a lot of fear that you will be prone to miscarriages or unhealthy pregnancies and all that. And yes, you are correct with this inflammation and then insulin resistance because I've seen a lot on the internet right now. It seems that PCOS is a very big thing. It's like a big percentage is having PCOS or they feel like they are having PCOS. So it's like one of the barrier of fertility right now.
There are a couple of quick things. I work with a lot of women that are slightly older and there's still every chance to have successful pregnancies. Like that is one thing. It's one of the things that I try and myth bust a little bit. And, of course, there is a certain upper limit, but if women in their 40s now are becoming pregnant and having really healthy pregnancies. So I just want to put that out as a little word of encouragement. And you did also mention that I think our modern life, there's a lot more overwhelm in general. We're getting bombarded by a lot of information in general and also a lot of more toxins also in our environment, whether it's our makeup products or things like that. And those are things that we can easily eliminate. And there are definitely things we can do. Also, you're right, the fear aspect is huge. Like whether it's fear around being too old or fear around miscarrying, that again comes into the mental health aspect of it to try. What can we do to try and keep our mind calm and grounded during this process? Because the fears definitely creep in. I definitely had that on my journey. I wasn't perfect. I was not Zen all the time. I definitely had my ups and downs.
Yeah. Speaking of the internet, there's a lot of fertility advice online today. What are like the red flags that women should watch out for when they're looking for fertility support, for the practitioner and the clinics, and even the supplements, because right now the supplements are really going big because many are claiming that I drink this and I get pregnant.
Yep,
But
exactly. Honestly, we could do a whole episode on supplements, to be completely honest. But supplements is a really big subject. Like, I think my quickest take home today is that I still believe in, for the most part, try to get all your nutrition from your actual food, from healthy, rich, live foods for the most part. Try not to go into the over processed foods and overcooked foods, things like that. Let's go live, healthy foods, and you still get a lot of nutrition from that. But there are some basic supplements that I do really like. We can go into a whole other episode, but red flags really, if we stick on supplements for a second, make sure that it is as clean and as organic as possible. Definitely choose a reputable company with good reviews. Don't go with the cheapest company on Amazon. I get a couple of some supplements from Amazon. I'm not anti-Amazon, but make sure that the company is really reputable. Make sure the ingredients are clean. Take a look at the ingredient labels. Make sure there's not any added stuff in there that you don't need. Those would be my kind of top 3 points for now. But again, that could be a whole online course and an episode, and we can maybe talk more about that at another point. But red flags for me, if someone is kind of guaranteeing a pregnancy, if someone is saying, as you said, take this supplement or do this protocol and you will definitely become pregnant, that is a red flag, because the tough part, but the real part of this journey is nothing is guaranteed. Fertility is a complex thing and it's influenced by many factors. So no ethical practitioner would promise specific outcome necessarily, right? But what I say to the women that work with me is that I guarantee that you will come through this feeling more confident, more empowered, more embodied, more radiant, and more knowledgeable in your journey and more supported. But yeah, even me, and I feel like I'm pretty good and I know my stuff, but I can't guarantee that. So if someone's guaranteeing an outcome, it's a possible red flag. Maybe also another red flag, things like fear-based messaging. If someone is making anyone feel hopeless or pressured, or there's any kind of coercion, that's definitely a red flag. And on a positive note, I like myself when I go to a clinic or see practitioners, that the practitioners that are open to you asking all the questions. If anyone is shutting anyone down and being like, I don't want you to ask this, or we don't deal with that, or no, we're not going to answer that, that's also a red flag. Like, let's be open. Let's answer all the questions. I want, like I said, women to come out of this feeling more empowered and educated and not frazzled and frustrated, right? So yeah, to be my red flags.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Charlotte, because right now there are more fertility clinics already. So at least knowing that, you can choose which one you really would go for, because as you said, like, mentally you should be prepared. So if someone cannot answer your questions, then there's already stress in your mind. There's already a blockage out there. There's already fear in there. So that will definitely not be helpful if you want to conceive. So, Dr. Charlotte, we already said that there's a lot of overwhelm and confusion. So for everyone listening who is feeling exactly that, and even discouraged, worried about the fertility journey, what would you want them to hear today?
It's such a great question. And I really think the overwhelm is such a big part of this journey. So first, I would want anyone that's on this journey to know that they are not alone. They're absolutely not alone. Fertility challenges can be very emotional, very exhausting, but there is a lot of support out there. Okay. And also there are protocols, and I try and create my protocol to actually reduce the overwhelm, to create protocols that are basically, you take things one step at a time. Okay. I mean, for example, I have 4 simple pillars. We map out the blocks. We map out anything that's blocking your possible fertility. Then we go into mastery. We're going to master your cycle, your fertility window. And then we're going to look into your metabolic health. And then we get into a bit of meditation and magic and a little bit of pampering and feeling good. So we have 4 simple pillars. And I present it like a menu. Like, if you want to focus on your nutrition right now, we'll look at this part of it. We don't have to do all the things all the time. And the other piece of advice I would give is, like, it is very easy to feel like, my goodness, my biological clock is ticking. I have all these appointments lined up and we're in our headspace and we're go, go, go. But you know what? It is okay to breathe. It is okay to take a pause. It's okay to find your support network. Take your time to find the people that are positive for you, that support you, a good medical team, a good holistic team. Take your time to build your support as well. And lastly, Your fertility doesn't define you. This is not all you. You are much more than just your fertility journey. So give yourself some kindness. Talk to your body and mind like you would talk to your best friend. You wouldn't put your best friend under pressure. You wouldn't talk badly to them, right? You would be like, I love you. I'm going to support you. We're going to do this. We're going to take time to figure this out. So take things one step at a time. You're not alone. And there is a lot of love and support out there. And trust your body's wisdom. Trust your body's wisdom. You know, your body is amazing. So get into a curious space, feel empowered. And it's very easy to feel like this journey is going to be long and exhausting and frazzling, but it could be also incredibly empowering and incredibly successful and incredibly positive. I want any woman listening to this to hold on to that. There is a light there at the end of the tunnel.
That's true, because some people have already given up hope. Maybe they're trying for a very long time. They have tried different methods. They've been to the doctor, and some doctors would say maybe there's a chance of infertility or something like that. So these types of feeling, it really affects us, especially if we really want to have a child. So thank you so much, Dr. Charlotte. This topic is actually been long overdue, because like a year ago something, I was talking to a fertility expert. He is a guy and he was doing IVF, but it never happened. So maybe this episode is really for a fertility expert that is a woman and who's been with a journey, because most women, it's just my opinion, that really carries that weight bigger than the man, because you feel like, oh, maybe because of my age, or maybe because something is lacking in me, or especially if you have already experienced miscarriages. So you feel like maybe something is wrong in me. It's really a very inward challenge. So this episode about fertility coming from a woman and a miracle mama herself makes it more empowering and more like connected, because we women feel it so hard. So thank you so much, Dr. Charlotte.
One last little quick thing that you brought up there. I agree with you that there are some amazing male fertility doctors out there. We're not going to be anti-male doctors right now, but I do also love the female connection, because it is such an intimate journey. And the other point about it is I do feel sometimes a lot of infertility gets blamed directly and instantly on the woman's side. Well, it must be her that, you know, she's infertile. She's got the problem. Let's check her out. But we must also check out our male partners too. There is also a male infertility crisis too. I'm actually writing my second book about it right now. Like, we need to look at the male side, because I feel very often women get the blame and guys are kind of cruising along going, well, I'm fine, you know, I'm cool. And sometimes it is also a male problem. So we need to check out both sides of the story. That's my last little point there. Like, if there's a lot of unexplained infertility on the female side, make sure that we check out our male partners as well, because it could possibly be something with them. And I know the guys often don't like to look at that and deal with it. And let's face it, trying to get our men into the doctor's office is sometimes a challenge, right?
Yes,
but
yes.
It's very important that both sides get checked out as well. It's not always on the female side. That's another important point to remember. So I'm really glad this helped, Camille. It's been lovely talking to you. It's been such a great chat.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charlotte, and see you again next week.
Yeah, see you again. We'll talk again soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye. I hope you learned something valuable today that can support your healing journey. If you love this episode, please take a moment to give us a 5-star rating and a follow of the 𝗲𝗍𝗿 podcast. It would really help us reach more people who needs this message. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye!